Watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. We ask you to subscribe, share, and continue liking our videos. Today, we want to focus on murder and particularly look at the elements that make up the offense of murder. What are you supposed to prove in court for you to be able to succeed in murder? We know that murder is under section 171 of the Penal Code as revised, but when discussing murder, before we enter into the elements of murder, these are the things you must put into your mind. These are some of the sections or some of the topics you must know or discuss very well. Number one, you must be aware of Article 171, which discusses the definition of murder. And then you have 172, which talks about the punishment, which is death for murder. And then 174, it discusses the element of malice aforethought. And then you must also know section 178, which talks about suicide pacts, and also section 179, which talks about causation. A person is deemed to have caused death of another under the following circumstances. And also section 180, which talks about when a child is deemed to be a child. Okay, and then we have section 181. This is very important. 181, which talks about limitation of death, that it is that you are believed to have caused the death of another under section 181 if that person dies within 1 year and 1 day. Where that person does not die within 1 year and 1 day, then that murder was not caused by you. So those are some of the very important sections which must be at our fingertips when discussing the term murder. So section 171, if we now cross and we start to discuss to appreciate murder. Now, when we go to courts of law, in our previous discussions in year one first semester, for all the first years, for example, you discussed and said the burden of proof lies on prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So in this semester 2, when we are discussing these offenses, we are now going to see what do we mean by proving beyond reasonable doubt. What is prosecution supposed to prove beyond reasonable doubt such that someone can be convicted for murder? So these are the offenses. Failure to prove these elements, then someone can never be convicted for murder, as we are going to discuss. Now, section 171 of the Penal Code provides that when someone with a malice aforethought causes the death of another using any unlawful act, that person has committed murder. And in section 172, the punishment for that crime is death. So we are saying that any person who causes the death of another with a malice aforethought using unlawful act commits murder. So it is in this section 171 where we pick the elements. Any person who causes the death of another. If you cause the death of another, meaning there's somebody who has died with a malice aforethought, the knowledge or the intention, then you commit what we call murder. So let us now appreciate and go into now the elements of murder. Number one, if you're going to prove murder, you must prove that there is a dead body. You must prove that death occurred. That is the first element. That yes, there was a dead body, that death occurred. We have a case of Uganda versus Namwanje. Namwanje's case, she first pleaded that yes, she had killed. And now prosecution relied on that yes, she had said she participated or she killed the deceased, but never presented anyone who was at the burial, anyone who witnessed the death, someone who said that yes, this person died and we were at the vigil and we buried that person. So in absence of a dead body, then murder cannot stand. In the case of Namwanje, she was acquitted. Why? Nobody participated in the burial of that person. Nobody saw the dead body. So we are not saying otherwise, that you go and begin killing people and you vanish with the dead body, or you hide the dead body, no one sees it, and then you are acquitted. Yes, it is true, but we are not encouraging people to go and kill others. So element number one, there must be a dead body. At least somebody must attest that yes, we were at the burial, so and so was killed. So that is element number. So as prosecution, you must begin by proving this before we go into anything, that yes, we are here in court and so died. We have people who can attest that they buried him, he was the son of so and so, just to make court understand that the matter which is being entertained in the court, yes, it is true, it is a matter, it is something of murder, and the life of somebody was taken away. Then from there we go to the other one, that unlawful act. Somebody must have used unlawful act, that the manner in which that person died, there should have been unlawful act, an act which was unlawful. For example, let's look at the case of Uganda versus Dr. Murphy Kirabo. In this case, decided the other day, in this case, Matthew was convicted of murder. But you see, they are saying that Matthew killed this wife by cutting her in the neck and various parts. He cut the girlfriend into pieces. Now, that is the unlawful act. He cut. You must prove. If killing was by shooting, then that is what you must prove. Let's look at the case of, I don't remember if it went to court, this gentleman who killed the one who ended in her arbitration here at Gogo Mall. Gentleman who killed Kena, who squashed his car and he killed, so using a gun. The idea is he killed using a gun. So the unlawful act is that killing using the gun. That is the unlawful act that has taken away a life of another. Okay, so we must prove that there was an unlawful act which was used, being the second ingredient. Then the third ingredient, or even then you can use the case of Uganda versus Mamadi Sebufu, those who beat, tortured and killed a woman who they were demanding money for allegedly buying a car from them. And then we can now cross to the third element, that malice aforethought, that the killing of the person we are talking about was accompanied by malice aforethought under section 174, which we shall look at ably very well, that there should be the knowledge and intention. In one of the cases, I think Uganda versus Nanyonjo, it was alleged a malice aforethought. We can look at the type of killing to see that whether there was a malice aforethought, the knowledge and intention. Did somebody intend to kill that somebody? For example, in that case, it was alleged that, for example, if I get a knife and I cut somebody in the heart, I pierce somebody in the heart, that yes, I know if you pierce somebody in the heart, you have the intention of killing them, because the heart will stop beating spontaneously there and then, meaning you are losing a life. But if you get a knife and you pierce somebody, you pierce somebody, let's say in the thigh, was there any intention for you to kill that person? If you look at somebody who was hit on the thigh and somebody who was hit on in the heart. So that's why you draw the malice aforethought. Did this somebody have the intention, or it may not be the intention, the knowledge that somebody is going to die, even when it is that somebody who has died or not, but did you have the knowledge? Okay, so that's what you need to do. We need to prove malice aforethought, but because it was very difficult to prove at common law and in olden days, now courts have looked at the method of killing. How was this person killed? What was done in the process of killing? That can also be used to determine what we call malice aforethought. So those are the three elements so far that you must prove when discussing the element of murder. Let's look at the final one, which is the participation of the accused. You must prove that yes, it was the accused who actually killed. In some instances, prosecution has failed to prove that it is the accused who actually committed the crime, who killed the other person. I'll give an example. In a case of Uganda versus Dr. Agwe Chinji, if you remember, Agwe Chinji pleaded alibi that I was not at the scene of crime when my wife died, whereas other people, including his family members, including his children, who actually one children testified in the court and said that my father was not remorseful, like he was not crying, he was not bothered, it was his wife who had died, so we suspect it is Chinji who actually killed his wife. But you see, courts, even when the whole world thinks that the late now Dr. Agwe Chinji had killed his wife, courts do not look at that. They are saying prosecution prove that this man, the accused, participated in the killing of his wife. So where prosecution fails to place you at the scene of crime, if you plead alibi, or whether prosecution fails to prove that yes, it is this man who actually shot him or strangled him to death, then you have no case to answer. That is why we go ahead when there is a criminal matter. That's why we go ahead and we begin to ask for forensic, to go and do research, take people's fingerprints and others. All this is met at ensuring that if they are saying Walter killed this person, then you must prove that yes, Walter participated in the killing of that person. So those are the four elements that one has to prove for murder to stand. And important to note, when discussing these elements, we must attach a case on each of these elements to bring it out clearly. For example, in the case of, to even explain better the case of Uganda versus Dr. Matthew Chirabo, you see, in this case, they said that the way the woman was cut, it was done by an expert, a professional. And remember, Matthew was a doctor. So meaning that Matthew knew where he was cutting, where somebody can lose life instantly. That is where he cut. Now, what happens there? Matthew being a doctor and finding out that the person who cut this person must have been a professional or a doctor. So Matthew 1 is now being linked that yes, it is the accused actually who participated. And 2, the knowing where to cut and somebody dies instantly, that means there is a malice aforethought which has come up. So that is how you try and explain the elements of murder. So we have discussed the 4 elements of murder. In our next videos, we'll discuss a malice aforethought, suicide pacts, causation, and the limitation, and others. We thank you so much for watching Law School Made Easy at Law School Made Easy 256. Share, subscribe, like our videos. Thank you.